For years now, Hughes Stadium, or what was Hughes Stadium, over off of Overland Trail, has been just an open area, 164 acres of open natural area where there's actually some frisbee golf going on. Now has officially been purchased by the city of Fort Collins and will remain open space for the future. Now, what will actually happen with the space, whether there's a BMX trail or walking trails, natural areas, restoration projects, things of that nature, is still yet to be seen, but we will find out probably in the next 3 to 7 years. But for the time being, it will remain open and open to the public, but it is official. The city of Fort Collins now owns it. This is live in Fort Collins. We come to you every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. and we talk to you about things that are happening, things that you can do. City Council, now this is the third week in a row. Now City Council resumes next week where there was not a City Council meeting. So we will skip over that section. But then we'll also look at developments under review. And this week there's a few that, caught my eye that might be of interest to you that you want to pay attention to. But that being said, let's jump right in on, kind of some information that might help you make some decisions moving forward. Longs Peak, one of our 14ers here in the state of Colorado, one of the closest to Fort Collins. Me and my wife have never hiked it. We discussed it once. We were going to go 1 year, probably about a decade ago, with her previous long jump coach. We woke up, there was thunderstorms. We decided, nope, not going to do it. And I kind of honestly had this huge sigh of relief because, well, people legitimately die hiking Longs Peak. And especially right now, there is still a significant amount of snow up there, ice. So they are suggesting, unless you are an expert level hiker, probably to refrain from hiking Longs Peak at this time. Usually opens up right around July 4th time period. They're expecting it to open up probably closer to the beginning of August. So definitely something to explore. Maybe I'm just a big old wimp. And I'm sure one day we will do it, maybe. Otherwise, CSU increased their tuition 4%. Most of that's going to go to pay increases. We talked about last week, or maybe the week before, Poudre school districts the teachers received a 10% salary increase, which is awesome because the cost of living has gone up. CPI numbers today came out. They looked really nice. So, but that doesn't mean that there's still after effects for people to catch up their salaries to these inflationary increases of cost of living. So CSU tuition was approved to receive a 4% increase, right around $13,000 a year for fall and spring semester. About $600 less than what CU is charging, right around $13,600. But it was interesting to see a comparison between surrounding states. Kansas State charges $8,300. Utah State, $10,448. University of Wyoming, not going to bag on them any more than what their tuition says, $7,028. You get what you pay for, right? No? All right. Well, no, I got a lot of friends that went to the University of Wyoming. Laramie's really close to us. A lot of great people that go there. But University of Wyoming, $7,028, and University of New Mexico, $10,298. Let's see. I've been to University of Wyoming and University of New Mexico, but not to Kansas State or Utah State. Would be curious to see what their campuses look like. So CSU, $13,000 a year for fall and spring semester tuition only. Now, let's see here. The Horsetooth Mountain, they opened up another trail system. What is this going to be called? Let's see here. Which is the Stout Connector Trail. It's going to be 1.3 miles of 5% grade, much simpler terrain. It is going to be an additional walking path. It's so cool to see these trails just being opened up, and they're going to be discussing funding to connect that Poudre Trail all the way from Bellevue to Greeley, and that should happen here in the next couple of years. But it is just so cool you can stumble across these trails. In fact, we're going hiking tomorrow, or camping tomorrow with my family up in Red Feather, and I went up with my dad, and for the last 7 or 8 years, he's been hiking by himself. And I'm like, dude, if you would have got lost, this is the first time that I went out with him. We kind of scouted the trip. I was like, if you would have got lost up here, there's no way we would have found you. But We got up onto the hill at up to Red Feather at 6:30, and I was back down for my company meeting by 9:30. It's an hour drive away, and just absolutely gorgeous landscape. And I'm excited to bring my family. We're going to take our kids camping. Maybe I'm a little stressed, took that out. Didn't take it out, but it was maybe a little short with my wife because I'm like, oh man, camping with 3 kids, one of them being 16 months old. It's got to be a blast, right? But that being said, there's trails all across. This is truly in our backyard, and Horsetooth and Horsetooth Falls, and now the Stout Trail Connector. These are just phenomenal, wonderful hiking trails that you should go explore. And so that just opened up. Definitely want to explore that. Again, we talked about the Fort Collins closing on the Hughes Stadium. A lot of those things that are going to happen aren't going to happen for many years until we get funding for approval of how we're going to use that space. But at least the city of Fort Collins, which did kind of have a dogfight with the state of Colorado, because long story short, the state of Colorado owned the land. They wanted affordable housing there because, hey, again, we talked about cost of living, inflationary things. They wanted to put some affordable housing over there. And the city was just like, no, we want to keep it open space. And the state's like, that's cute, but we're Big Brother. We tell you what to do. But if you can find us some replacement land, we'll maybe take you up on your deal. The city of Fort Collins actually voted on it, but again, state of Colorado is like, no, we need affordable housing. Long story short, however we've worked it out, we've found Colorado State University some land to build some affordable type housing on. City of Fort Collins now owns that open space for $12.5 million, and how that land is going to be used could be a variety of ways. Lots of discussion of biking, walking trails, BMX trails. There's a very kind of broad term of open space and lands over there, but it will be zoned for that and will be open to the use for the city of Fort Collins public and for their citizens. So super exciting. Things that you can do this week. A listening session by Councilmember Francis Pignataro on July 15th. If you want more information on how you can do that. But essentially what it sounds like is, there's a lot of things that are going on right now in the city with land use code, open space over at Hughes Stadium, U+2, occupancy. So, it's an opportunity for you to go and see what's going on, have questions answered, at least from this individual. So there's a listening session on July 15th. Colorado had an Article 8 outdoorsy things to do around Fort Collins. Some of them are kind of sky gazing. Yeah, sure. Maybe drive up to Horsetooth and park your car and look out at the stars. Might be, beautiful. I don't doubt it. A farm tour. Now they were talking about Bellevue's Morning Fresh Dairy, and actually I'm going to lose this really. Morning Fresh Dairy, but you could also go to Lee Martinez, and there's some really cool, fun things for kids to do. A friend of ours just moved into town, and there was kind of like a become a little farmer, and there was like 4 days of activities and things of that nature. But I think it was about an hour to an hour and a half long. Let's see here. Picking your own flowers, 719 West Willix. You can $15 or $45. Bird watching, horseback riding. I know Izzy, my assistant, she would absolutely. Yes, we need affordable housing. I own a house. I agree. There's definitely something that needs to be done. I'll get back to that. Thanks, Phil. Horseback riding. Izzy was just talking to me. She said that she probably had gone up to that Red Feather area, probably, a time or two. And, there is some cool opportunities. It looks like $65 to $109 per person to make reservation at the Beaver Meadows Stables. Tubing the Pooter. We actually just took our team whitewater rafting with Rocky Mountain Adventures last week, and it was just awesome. The water levels are great. They're safe for whitewater rafting. Tubing, you definitely want to wear a life vest, but it would be something to where I would take me and my wife, not necessarily my kids, but tubing the Pooter right now, it's just amazing. We have 90 to 95 degree weather, and definitely be safe. Make sure you can swim, but wear a life vest and enjoy some tubing down the Pooter. Let's see here. Movies in Fort Collins. We're going to go to the Canvas Stadium in Conto, July 22nd. They ask that you make reservations for that, so we're going to take that opportunity to go do that. The Holiday Twin Drive-In movie theater. There's Insidious, Spider-Man on screen 1, and then Indiana Jones and Transformers on screen too. And I'm guessing, based off of what we saw at Cinemark, Mission Impossible is probably going to kick out one of those movies. But that being said, Holiday Twin Drive-In, let's see here, Timnath Movie Night, Top Gun. The Lyric has outdoor movies that I actually still have not been to the new Lyric. So I got to make that definitely a thing to do. But if you haven't, the Lyric now is on North College, and really cool venue. There's outdoor movies, and they've got a list that you can go do. And then one thing that we're going to be doing, I think it's actually sometime in September, a walking history tour of Fort Collins and Poudre Landmark Foundation. And now it's a 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. during that day. And I just invited my wife. I said, hey, we're going to go do this. It's going to be fun. Go look at some old houses here in Fort Collins and hear the history from somebody who is extremely knowledgeable about the area. Plenty of time to sign up. But yeah, that I think is like September 10th or 22nd, but from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And definitely something that would be worth going and exploring, because this is Old Town Fort Collins. There's some cool history here that I'm excited about learning. And I've read some Fort Collins books, but nothing like exploring it firsthand in the area. All right, now jumping to the developments under review. Over kind of by Timnath Middle High School, there's going to be a big development going on there, all around there, really on each quadrant. That's going to be our next really heavily developed area, but there's going to be some industrial area, some distribution area, and that's one of the preliminary designs that's going under review on a 27-acre parcel. Let's see here. Over on South Timberline Road, which is right across the street from Willow Springs, there could be some commercial storage facilities there, which I would just not be a fan of, or 3 new residential lots, which makes much more sense for that area. So, this is an opportunity, not that there's, but maybe not going to be any neighborhood meetings, but something to where you could go and get involved with and, let your voice be heard, but hopefully it's more residential than it is self-storage. But it is right by Willow Springs, right across the street on Timberline. Let's see here. They're asking to do an additional dwelling, or an addition to a dwelling unit over off of Mulberry and Taft. That's great. And then on E335 East Magnolia, they're going to do a conversion of a house into a duplex. I was actually literally just walking Magnolia. It's a cool street. A lot of those make sense. There's off-street parking, the density, and it'll be interesting to see when the land use code makes its revisions, what can happen. But that is kind of an example of somebody taking already, whether it's a rental unit or whatever they use it as, or maybe they're living in one of their units. It's going to be a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom in one of the properties, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom in the other unit that's attached. But this is an opportunity to obviously to automatically make an extra dwelling unit that is in downtown that really won't affect the feel of that area, but might allow for an extra, a person to now have an extra 1-bedroom apartment available. So those are all of the designs developments that are going under review. We are at 13 minutes. Let's see here. One of the questions: we need affordable housing. I own a house, yet I agree. Yeah, there was a comment made on one of my YouTube videos that was like, man, who cheers for appreciation? And I'm like, I mean, it's kind of part of it. It's a very desirable place to live. So there's only so many houses. Inventory is scarce, so prices are increasing. But yes, we absolutely need to find housing that can support mid-level managers, managers of restaurants, teachers, firefighters, police officers. Yes, when I looked at it, the policies or permitting fees are so unreasonable. I have the ADU it's interesting, right? So what's going through the city, at least what I'm watching with the city council right now, is it's definitely going to be some sort of ADUs are going to pass. But from there, the timeline, permit fees, and build are absolutely, you're right, unreasonable. You could quickly get to $200,000 to build a 600 square foot, 650 square foot ADU. Now, if they go the route that some other cities have of having pre-approved drawings, architectural ability, and like a fast track approval process, permitting and architectural, you could significantly decrease that timeline. And so I'll be curious to see when that comes into play, if they in fact if they, $30,000 for a permit fee. I don't doubt it. It's based off of the cost of the renovation. I think ours was just to do a remodel. It was like $4,000, and a remodel like value that we gave to the city was, I think, $60,000. So you take that 60 times 4, so maybe $16,000. But ADU housing stack, yeah, they claimed in the initial policy or articles that they would increase the housing stock by 52% over the next 20 years. Maybe. I mean, I think that's a pretty significant number to increase the housing stock, but this is all going to be fleshed out literally in the next 2 months. I think by September, they wanted to have voted on a new land use code policy. So we will find out exactly what is going to be passed and what is allowed, where duplexes, triplexes, ADUs, affordable housing, density, height requirements. All of these things are changing for the first time since 1997. It's exciting because, hey, like, we are having an opportunity. The city council is having an opportunity to mold Fort Collins moving forward, and it'll be curious to see how the city of Fort Collins residents react. But to your point, Fort Collins is extremely desirable. It's going to continue to be desirable from what I can see when less dramatic things happen. Inventory is going to be remain constrained. Basic economics, supply, demand, prices are going to increase. And yeah, you're right. Unless there's some significant increase to housing stock, it's not going to increase or decrease affordability or increase affordability for much. I would say increasing attending the city council meetings is important. I've been paying attention to city council for the first time, and not for the first time in my life, but significantly every single week this year since the beginning of the year. And absolutely they hear our voices. Sometimes they don't care, but sometimes they do. A prime example of that was the rental regulations. They scaled that thing back after they passed it on the first reading. At the second reading, they scaled that thing back. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Individuals that are very involved with the community could absolutely make an impact if they are aware. And that's why I'm doing these videos. And I appreciate your comments, Phil, and engagement over the years. Thank you very much. It does mean a lot to me. But that's why I do these videos, to try to help at least convey some information that's happening in Fort Collins, so that if you're considering buying here or moving here or live here, that you understand that there's some pretty significant things that are happening, and there's opportunities for your voices to be heard. Real quick, and I will wrap this up because we're running a little bit long. Real quick, this, they originally passed the land development code, but then there was a Preserve Fort Collins that that basically had it. There was options to repeal it or put it to a vote. They repealed it. 4,500 people, I think 7,000 people, but 4,500 people were actually ratified signatures. But then they actually did these public outreach. They spent how many tens of thousands of dollars sending out postcards. And there was 500 people in a city of 180,000 people that have had, their voices heard or, sent feedback. And so those 500 people are basically kind of dictating where the city council is making these determinations of where they should go next. So hopefully this is kind of getting out to people, and, we can get that information. Then they can get involved with the city. It's important. We have a very wonderful community. Like you said, we can compete with Boulder if we get startups and the right policies in place. We just released a podcast with, if you haven't listened yet, Fort Collins Fellas with Scott Shrake, who's the director of entrepreneurship at CSU. Had really fun insights. Phil, I suggest you go listen to that. It's Fort Collins Fellas on Apple Podcast. And but yes, we need startups, we need jobs, we need high paying jobs, and we need good policies to allow that, and companies to bring in headquarters here. Woodward Governor, a great flagship opportunity that they are now having phenomenal jobs, high paying jobs here in Fort Collins, but we need more of it. So I am going to wrap up. Wow. I appreciate 12 people showing up on our Wednesday night live. I ran a little bit long, so maybe I need to every time. We are middle of the way through the year. Hopefully this information is helpful. Appreciate you guys taking time out of your Saturday evening. Now I'm going to go spend time with my family. Until next week, guys, take care.